In a village shrouded in mist, there was a dark mansion at the edge of the woods. This mansion belonged to the Valerian family, a family known for their mysterious ways. The villagers whispered tales of darkness and dread, afraid to wander too close to the mansion after sunset. The Valerians were not just any family. They were vampires, cursed to roam the night in search for blood. Once, the Valerian family was happy. They had a bright daughter, Lilith, whose laughter echoed through the mansion. She loved to dance under the moonlight, her pale skin glowing like silver. But darkness fell upon their family when the eldest son, Victor, craved power. His desire led him to ancient tomes of dark magic, which promised him control over life and death. Victor, so consumed by his craving for strength, made a fateful deal with a dark spirit. In exchange for powers beyond imagination, he would have to sacrifice someone he loved. Blindly, he chose Lilith, believing that her essence could give him eternal strength. Under a blood-red moon, he performed the ritual, chanting incantations that echoed through the night. As the final words left his lips, a chill swept through the mansion. Lilith appeared, a sweet smile on her face. Victor hesitated for a moment, but the spirit's whispers filled his mind, urging him on. The dagger gleamed as he plunged it into his sister's heart. Blood poured onto the ground, mixing with the earth, and the spirit laughed, a sound that sent shivers down Victor's spine. Lilith's laughter faded into a haunting silence, and the mansion trembled. In that moment, Victor realized too late that there was no power in her death. Instead, he felt a curse wrap around him like a chain. The dark spirit had tricked him, binding him in a never-ending nightmare. His siblings, once vibrant and joyful, turned cold and hollow shadows of their former selves. In his despair, Victor tried to bring back his sister. He delved deep into ancient magic, seeking ways to resurrect her. Each failed attempt twisted him further. His skin turned grey and his heart felt like stone. As he spiraled into madness, his family began to turn on each other. The curse spread among them, feeding on their grief and anger. One night, the youngest sibling, Elara, discovered Victor in the library, surrounded by burning candles and old tomes. Shadows danced around him. "Victor, stop this!" she cried, but his eyes glowed with an eerie light. "I am doing this for us," he shouted, his voice echoing in the darkness. Elara turned to flee, but the twisted bond of their blood tethered her to him. As she ran through the cavernous halls, she could hear whispers, words of sorrow and despair. "You can't escape your fate," they screamed. The shadows formed into ghosts of their ancestors, each one haunted by the blood spilled for power, forever cursed. Days turned to weeks, and the mansion transformed into a prison of sorrow. The family, once tied by love, became enemies consumed by their grief. Victor locked himself away, desperate to find a way to bring back Lilith, while Elara wandered the mansion, seeking answers. She found old portraits of her family, vibrant, happy faces now faded and grim. One stormy night, thunder cracked and lightning illuminated the mansion. Elara had a vision Lilith was trapped in a realm of shadows, crying for help. Elara knew she could not let her sister's spirit linger in darkness. With trembling hands, she gathered the family and revealed her plan to break the curse. "We must face our past, admit our sins, and find a way to free Lilith," Elara declared, her voice steady despite the fear that gripped her heart. The siblings, weak and broken, came together under the flickering candlelight. They formed a circle, holding hands as they started to chant a spell of redemption. Victor, torn between love and madness, joined them, realizing that they could not lose another sibling. As they spoke the words in unison, the air thickened and shadows swirled around them. A figure began to materialize, a shimmering apparition of Lilith. Her eyes, once bright and filled with joy, were now pools of sorrow. "Release me," she whispered, her voice echoing like the wind. Your sorrow has kept me bound. Only through love can I be free. With renewed strength, Elara and the others poured their grief into the circle, transforming it into pure love. Their hearts opened wide, sharing their memories of Lilith, the times of laughter, the shared secrets, and the dances under the moonlight. Each tear they shed dimmed the shadows and brightened the spirit of Lilith. Slowly, the darkness that enveloped her began to dissipate, replaced by the warm glow of their shared memories. As the last verse of their chant echoed in the air, the mansion shook violently. The portraits trembled and the candles flickered wildly. Victor felt the weight of his sins pressing down on him, but he stood firm, focusing on the love he had for his sister, allowing it to guide him. Lilith took a step forward, her figure becoming clearer, her expression hopeful yet pained. You must forgive yourselves, she said softly. Only then can we break free from this anguish. The siblings exchanged glances, understanding dawning on their faces. They had let their grief and bitterness consume them, but now it was time to release it. In unison, they spoke heartfelt apologies, acknowledging their failings and letting go of the resentment that had grown over the years. The air around them shimmered as whispers of the past began to fade, the ghosts of their ancestors merging with the light. As Elara whispered her final apology, a blast of energy erupted from the center of the circle, enveloping Lilith in pure white light. She smiled, her laughter echoing in the hearts of her siblings like a sweet melody. The light absorbed the shadows, and with one final brilliant flash, everything went quiet. When Elara opened her eyes, the mansion looked different. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, illuminating the once dark halls. The oppressive atmosphere was replaced by warmth and brightness, and a sweet stillness hung in the air. Lilith, she called hesitantly, but no answer came. However, in that moment, she felt a presence of peace. It was as if her sister's spirit had been set free, and in the stillness, they could sense that she was finally at rest. Victor, looking around at the transformed space, finally saw the toll that his actions had taken. What have I done? He murmured, tears streaming down his face. The siblings gathered around him, no longer filled with anger, but a shared understanding of their tragic past. They had faced the darkest parts of their family and emerged stronger, deciding to leave behind the mansion that had witnessed such pain. The Valerian siblings stepped outside into the sunlight. As they crossed the threshold, a gentle wind swept through the trees, whispering a soft farewell to their lost sister. Together, they left the mansion, choosing to rebuild their lives, honoring Lilith's memory and vowing to never lose sight of love again. The village, once fearful of the dark mansion, began to heal, the tales of the Valerian family changing from horror to remembrance of love and sacrifice. Though the shadows of their past would always linger, the siblings learned to embrace the light, cherishing the bond they shared. They knew the darkness would always be a part of their history, but it would never define them again. In time, stories spread about the haunted mansion at the edge of the woods, transformed into a place of memories, a symbol of resilience. The Valerian siblings dedicated their lives to helping others and dispelling the darkness that enveloped those in despair. And so, the legacy of the cursed bloodline morphed into a tale of redemption, echoing through the village as a reminder that even in the darkest of places, love has the power to heal, and hope can guide one back to the light. I hope you enjoyed this story. Turn on playlist to listen one after another and subscribe for more story every day. Good night.